Round Rock community members saw tennis ball-size hail last night. Take a look at the damage. It wreaked havoc across multiple neighborhoods. CBS Austin's Jessica Taylor joins us live outside the Cat Hollow neighborhood tonight. Jessica, how are things looking out there right now, and how are people recovering today?
Well, I'm going to give you a look. This is some of the damage that we're seeing in Round Rock. Multiple car windshields completely cracked or caved in some instances. We've also seen plenty of companies out here fixing home windows and roofs. I spoke with 2 Round Rock residents today that shared their terrifying experiences in that hailstorm, but say they're grateful everyone is okay. Omero Perez is patching the roof of Kimberly Matterang's home this afternoon following last night's hailstorm that crashed through her Round Rock neighborhood.
Probably looking at like tennis ball size hail.
Matterang says the hail came fast and clearly large enough to cause holes in the roof. Then came the rain and electricity loss.
And then at that point we had a large puddle of water inside. Then you would hear the glass shattering.
Another Round Rock resident, Dana Miller, caught the hailstorm while on the highway, but she didn't have time to worry about her car because her only concern was the precious cargo in the back seat, her 3-week-old son, Micah.
Of course, we had our baby in the back seat, rear facing, as is safest, and I had to jump over top of him to shield him.
Dana and her mom were sitting in the back with Micah when the back windshield blew out. Dana immediately began shielding her baby, and Dana's mom began shielding her. Dana and her husband, who was sitting up front, swapped places while her stepdad ripped up the floor mats to help cover the back.
I did not see an end in sight. If I'm being, as awful as that sounds, I was like, there's no way we're going to get home. I don't know how I can protect him more than I am right now.
A traumatic experience resulting in some bruises and cuts on Dana and her mom, but Micah is just fine.
He just had tiny shards of glass in his hair, a little bit in his neck, a few pieces in his onesie, but I don't know how he didn't have more on him because his car seat this morning is just filled with shards of glass.
Families across Round Rock are all dealing with the aftermath and feeling grateful it's only material items they're parting with.
Guess I'm getting my mom car now.
Lots of TLC needed across the community following that storm. Dana tells me that as a precaution, she did take her son Micah to the doctor today for a checkup. And Kimberly, who you also heard from at the top of that story, said that she has had trouble getting in contact with her insurance due to the amount of calls they're probably getting from this area. Jessica Taylor, CBS Austin News.
I spoke to just a handful of the many parents that were waiting here at the Delco Activity Center to be reunited with their child. One parent that I spoke to on camera says that just yesterday, her family had a school safety conversation, and she told her kids that if anything were to happen at their schools to call her, let her know. She was not expecting a text the very next day. Parents or people with loved ones at Northeast Early College High School in the Austin Independent School District likely received a terrifying text message like the one Amber Wynn got.
He went to school at 10:30 this morning, and at 11:30 he texted us letting us know that there was shots heard.
Wynn says she learned around noon that an officer at the school had been shot in the leg, prompting the campus to go on lockdown. The school later informed her that student pickup would be here at the Delco Activity Center.
We have all of my kids on lockdown, and it's just like, why? Why does it have to be, why does it come to this? Why can't law enforcement do something when it's being said instead of just waiting around until something happens?
More than 15 law enforcement agencies responded to the school.
I drove by there, I ain't gonna lie, all of APD was there. But again, it took something like this for something to happen. For something on school grounds that happened to an officer, a school officer, to happen. What if it was, my brother? What if it was his friend?
So far, no arrests have been made, and Wynn says her concerns won't ease until that happens.
Where's the suspect at? All these kids are getting on this school bus, leaving. What was his initial action? What was he trying to do? Is he going to follow them? Is he going to come and start again at another day? I mean, that's my initial outlook on it, is why? Why is this happening?
Wynn says that she was told school has been canceled tomorrow, but we're still waiting for official word. Reporting live, Jessica Taylor, CBS Austin News.
While many rank and file officers in the Austin Police Department are working overtime, they're not always seeing that reflected on their paychecks.
Pretty far and wide, right? Like we had some folks that at the time that were missing overtime for, going back several months even.
The Austin Police Association says this has been a problem since mid-pandemic. Police Chief Joseph Chacon says he's known of the issue with missing or delayed overtime pay for the last 12 to 14 months.
Who is responsible? Is this solely the responsibility of the HR and payroll department? Is this a larger issue that you could have control over?
Well, I think that ultimately it's the city. We're one city. So we all bear responsibility when we have a failure. And I certainly take responsibility and I feel ownership of it.
We reached out to the city for comment, who deferred us back to APD. APA President Thomas Villarreal says he's willing to work with anyone from the city to get a permanent solution in place to prevent future issues.
I don't know that this would affect the number of folks that are leaving, but I definitely fear that folks that are willing to work the overtime would either go work other overtime, right? Or just not work overtime at all.
There are several reasons for the pay delay, including understaffing, different rates of pay for overtime, and potentially technology that needs improvement. According to the chief, not working overtime isn't an option right now, with 275 vacancies, mostly on patrol.
We've got to maintain those minimum staffing levels.
Jessica Taylor, who is live in Allendale. Jessica, a lot of the people in that neighborhood don't have power.
Yeah, that's right, John Carlos. We're still about 100 people that don't have power in this neighborhood. I'm not sure if you can hear the cracking, but the bigger news in this area is just the amount of tree limbs that are snapping off. So come take a walk with us. We're going to show you some of those tree limbs that are now on the ground. We have some smaller limbs that are breaking off just like this. We're going to be careful to not get directly under the trees just because we are hearing them crack so consistently. And then we have some of these larger limbs that are breaking off, just like this one to my left right here. Now there are big, beautiful, and very old trees in this neighborhood, which means that sometimes we're hearing some giant cracking noises. Teddy, our photographer, is going up, and you can see right where that snapped off of this specific tree. You can see all of the ice that's surrounding the tree, and several of the other branches are curving. That's what we're seeing across this neighborhood, these arches in these trees, which are not supposed to be there this prominent at least, but we're hearing every couple of minutes just various limbs breaking off. Power has been out since around 4:30 or 5 this morning. I spoke with 2 neighbors in the area that say, yeah, they're used to this, but they're hoping that the power comes back on at some point this evening. You can see that there's just ice all over the landscape in this area, and that's what neighbors in Allendale are waking up to, and other Central Texans. Back to you in the studio.
And a heart attack, and I'd like to say I'm grateful.
One Central Texan is literally singing the praises for his surgeon and medical team that helped save his life back in 2021. Chuck King felt his left arm go numb and thought he was having a stroke. The medical team over at the Cardiothoracic and Vascular Surgeons in Georgetown found he had carotid artery disease and helped him fully recover. CBS Austin's Jessica Taylor met with King, who's using his musical skills to say thank you.
Since I didn't croak from a mini stroke.
Chuck King knows how to captivate an audience with his guitar skills, singing, and songwriting.
Well, I think I was 13 or 14, and my dad could play guitar, my mom could play guitar. So I asked my dad if he'd teach me.
His usual audience is the crowd at his church, where he regularly performs. But today it's Dr. Brad Boone. The surgeon he wrote this song,
For everything you do.
Green Gown Blues, for.
Well, I was just sitting at work, and I was talking to the girl like I'm talking to you, and I said, hey, what is it when your left side goes numb? And she said, I think that's your heart. And I go, well, I think you better call an ambulance.
After a hospital visit, Dr. Boone found Chuck's condition not to be a stroke, but carotid artery blockage.
The patients that we see more frequently, which can be 3 or 4 times in an afternoon's office, are the patients that have been identified with asymptomatic carotid disease that are at potential risk of stroke.
He needed cardiac bypass surgery and got to know the staff pretty well during his recovery.
I just couldn't say enough about all the people. They were just so friendly.
Chuck's song may have been Green Gown Blues, but his outlook is anything but blue. He's only positive for having more time to live and sing his songs.
To see someone with that talent who then uses their talent to show gratitude after what's a pretty significant event for them, and to have that that emotion shared, and it's just a very humbling thing.
Jessica Taylor.
I'd like to say I'm grateful for everything you do.
CBS Austin News.